It's sort of an archetypical ability that we've wanted to bring into Overwatch for quite some time. We've actually tried it before. It never actually, so true story, Genji used to have stealth way back before we released Genji. And we paired that with, he had an ultimate where he would get right behind you and stab the sword and in your back and kill you. And that was great as Genji. You really felt awesome as Genji. It turns out if you got killed by Genji, people were not happy about that. So we're I guess we can't add stealth that just kills people. Okay, well, we'll try that. And Genji changed. And Sombra's a little bit of a challenge because we knew the fantasy of her is stealthing, moving around, very elusive, trying to catch people off guard, ambush them. And that doesn't necessarily, that fantasy doesn't necessarily jive immediately with being part of the team, which is one of the reasons we gave her this ultimate that, the EMP that, affects, hacks everyone, all the enemies around her, because that's, once she does that and also brings down barriers, she does all these things, that will allow her team, this amazing opportunity to go in and attack. We've got a lot of different hero ideas. In a lot of cases, some of them have we already sort of understand what the background might be for them. Others, we're not exactly sure. Because for us, the hero development process isn't as much about, we're looking down a list of countries and going oh, we haven't done this country yet. We need to make a hero for that country. It's more some of them, a lot of them start out as oh, that's an artist might draw something, and we're that's the most amazing looking thing we've seen. We're totally going to do that hero. We have no idea what that hero is going to do. We have no idea what that hero is from. We just think it looks cool. Then we have other heroes where it's we know that the hero is going to have this mechanic. We knew Torburm was going to have turrets, right? We knew there was going to be a turret character, and then we developed it. And we thought hey, would make sense in terms of a shorter character making. I don't know what Sweden and short characters make any sense, but we did we wanted to we developed the story of the character after the game mechanics. So I think one of the principal things in terms of designing heroes is actually we want the experience of playing the hero for you to feel this is the most overpowered thing ever. With the kind of idea but at the same time, as if you're the one placing, you're fighting against it, you're okay, well, I can counter that this way, this other way. I can deal with that. And all the heroes, we really want to feel super overpowered, super fun to play. There's something about them that. But in the end, in terms of competitive balance, that's something I think until it's actually in the hands of 20 million players, we won't know completely. We won't know until. The kind of players that are playing the Overwatch World Cup, get their hands on them, right? So, kind of if we add enough heroes, do we have to make some changes? I think a similar kind of thing there. If we end up with and that really high class problem of we have too many maps, then yeah, we might look at a map rotation, maybe seasonal, maybe we'll have to see. But it's definitely on the table, but we don't think we're quite there yet. Yeah, all those definitely want to do more comics. Definitely want to do more web series. We're going to do more animated shorts. All those things. We recognize the limitations we have in terms of telling story within a 6v6 fast action game. We do what we can in terms of the maps. I think tell interesting parts of the story. As part of the arcade, we're releasing this new map called Ecoport Antarctica. And it's actually, that location is a key part of May's backstory. So we try to do those things in the game where we can, and where we can't, that's where we do rely on things like comic books and the web series and the animated shorts and the origin stories. And this is a game that definitely we're going to be supporting for years. So it's hard to say exactly what we might end up doing. We totally understand why you'd want a campaign, because I want to see more of this story. I want to see more of these characters interacting with each other. That was one of the things about Jungle Center event, just hearing those 4 characters actually talking to each other, and was one of the really highlights for me of that. So yeah, I totally understand why we want to do it, but we'll just have to see exactly what happens in the future. part of 1.5, we're also, we talked about this, we're putting the 1 hero limit rule that's in competitive also into quick play. Over time, like, it was a pretty hard decision for us to put that into competitive. The more we've seen that rule affect competitive play for the positive, we feel like that rule is also appropriate for quick play as well. So you shouldn't see 6 bastions. Yeah, well, outside on the show floor is one thing because everyone wants to play Sombra, but like on the PTR, like early next week, that'll be a change you'll see. So, but at the same time, for the people that do actually enjoy that like kind of that gameplay, playing with 6 Roadhogs or whatever. One of the options within Arcade is actually a mode called No Limits, and there you can play on like the normal maps, but without the 1 hero limit. So that's an option if you really like that kind of gameplay. We're super excited about eSports and the possibilities therein, and we definitely want to do right by Overwatch and also just the competitive excitement about the game. In terms of like, is Overwatch going to be as big as the NBA? Who knows? I mean, that's certainly there are things that we definitely want to try to improve on in terms of like the health of the players, being keeping track of taking care of them. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely something where eSports is certainly like it's already pretty big in like say like China, South Korea, here as well. I think we're definitely starting to see a bit more mainstream attention to it. ESPN has a eSports news section. It's definitely becoming more in the mainstream public eye, but that's going to be a process. That's something that's not going to happen overnight. So, but yeah, we're going to do our best.